which leads me right into the fifth question. What is your advice for everyday citizens? What can they do to help? And as a corollary, how confident are you that the secretaries of state and other state level officials responsible for managing the election are prepared for what's coming?
Well, on both of these, we have tried over at our organization. I run a nonprofit called defiance.org.
Yes.
We've been trying to invest in both of the things I'm going to tell you about. One is just classic voter turnout. The phrase that we've been using is too big to rig. We think that the best inoculation in this election against claims of fraud is that if the voter turnout is so extraordinary, people know in their bones what the election results were. And again, you see this in other countries where autocrats try to take over, and the political opposition says, no way. We waited in voting lines for 5 hours. We know there's no way you won this election because the energy on our side was massive compared to the energy on your side. That's one of the most powerful ways to do it. I keep saying people need to act like Election Day this November is the release of the 8th Harry Potter book. They need to camp out. They need to be prepared. It has got to be a cultural moment where people are just turning out in force. Yeah. That's going to give all of us the confidence in what the election results are. That's piece number one. Too big to rig is what this election needs to look and feel like and be like. The second piece of your question, are the secretaries of state and local election officials doing what they need to do? Are they getting the support they need to get? Certainly not from the federal government, but increasingly, I think they are grasping how serious the threat is from the federal government and doing extraordinary things to prepare that they would have never done previously. There are municipalities that are pre-drafting lawsuits against the federal government if they try to come get their hands on your ballots. There are state attorney generals preparing to sue the federal government for manipulation and false claims. There's a whole array of efforts that we normally wouldn't see where states and localities are becoming somewhat hostile to the federal government that they're preparing to do to keep the Trump administration from infringing on that fundamental franchise of the democratic right to vote. So that's been encouraging to see that level of preparation. And there's a whole host of amazing nonprofit groups out there and voter protection groups that have been engaged in that effort to make sure the states know what's coming.
Yeah, and the states are those individuals within the states that they're talking to each other, as I understand. So if there's something really smart being done in Illinois, it's being picked up by people in other states and vice versa. That I don't know if that's historically been true. It seems like there's more sort of interstate communication than in the past.
Well, I'll give you a quick example of how we've done that is with local prosecutors. Our organization launched something called the Fight Against Federal Overreach, FAFO, which also has a cheeky alternate meaning. But the Project for the Fight Against Federal Overreach is a nonprofit nationwide network of prosecutors, local prosecutors, who ultimately are going to be the ones who need to guard against federal agents unconstitutionally taking actions to suppress the vote or unconstitutionally trying to seize ballots. They'll be the ones to bring prosecutions against those agents. Those local prosecutors are also, by the way, the ones that have been charging ICE agents who've engaged in killings and other crimes when the federal government refused to police their own people. Now that effort, FAFO, is training prosecutors on election law to make sure that they are ready if these things happen in their districts, if nefarious federal action happens, to take those federal agents to court. As Larry Krasner, who's the top prosecutor in Philadelphia, said, he would, quote, throw their asses in jail if they break the law to suppress the vote or try to steal the vote. So you are seeing states and locals start to collaborate in ways that they have never done before. There's no other organization that's ever done this with prosecutors, local prosecutors in modern American history, but it's happening this cycle because people now understand the threat.
Yeah, and fighters, right? Fighters, not folders, people who are prepared to sort of deal with the moment. I mean, I think it's worth underscoring, how insane it is that states have to be preparing lawsuits before the election in anticipation of a federal government, a president of the United States, lying about the outcomes. It really is crazy.